do best ball. I am your host, Jerry. I am here with my co host, Jamie. Jamie, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just looking forward to talking some best ball.
Talking some best ball. What is best ball? Best ball is a popular, becoming a super popular way to play fantasy football. Jamie, why don't you pull out your Webster's Fantasy Football Dictionary and give us your definition of best ball?
Pretty much best balls, fantasy football format where league managers just draft a team. Uh, they don't set a lineup. Like there's no in-season management. There's no waivers, no trades. Uh, you just wait until the end of the year and see if you win or not.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Without getting too technical about it, you draft an 18 to 20 player team. And I say 18 to 20 because we're going to talk about a couple different ways to play best ball, and one of them is 18, one of them is 20. And you want to make sure you have players that fill in for bye weeks, fill in for potential injuries. But your goal is to have the highest scoring team, which is the thing in fantasy football. But in this, you don't set a lineup at all. You don't make trades. You don't make any waiver moves. You can't cut anybody. So if a guy gets hurt, he's just stuck on your roster, getting you 0 points every week. Um, where can you find best ball leagues? They have them on Underdog, which if you sign up now and use promo code GF2, you get a deposit match up to $100. They have it on DraftKings, the daily fantasy sports app. If you go to the DFS app, there's a section in there where you can find best ball leagues, and they have them on FanDuel, Drafters, and other apps like that. You can even create your own on Sleeper, which it's a little different than going on Underdog and DraftKings. Basically, you're just setting up your own league. You're just adding best ball scoring, which is different than actually going into DraftKings and Underdog because they they do all the work for you on DraftKings and Underdog and FanDuel. Um, on Sleeper, you're basically just in a fantasy football league. You just don't have to set a lineup. That's where the best ball portion comes in. So you could set it up to where you do make waiver moves and you do make trades. You can make it fully customizable. You can add defensive players. We'll get more into that in our Sleeper episode and show you how to and break down how to set up different leagues on Sleeper. Specifically, we're not going to get into Sleeper today. Today, we're going to basically focus on DraftKings and Underdog. We want to focus on what the difference between a 3, 6, or 12 team league is as opposed to a big tournament. We want to focus on. We're not really going to go over a lot of strategies per se. There are other podcasts and websites, and even Going for 2 has different write-ups about different strategies for best ball. We want to go over the bread and butter on how to get into a best ball league, and basically go from there. Um, Jamie, you're a big underdog guy, so I'll take the DraftKings portion. I'll let you take the underdog portion. Let's jump into the DraftKings here. So I'm doing this on a desktop. It's going to be a little bit different if you're doing it on your mobile phone, on the app, but you get to it the same way. On your main screen, lobby, hit NFL, and make sure you're on the best ball setup. If you go into all, you're going to be bringing up your weekly contest, your daily contest that they have. Make sure you're in best ball, because what this is for the bigger tournaments. It goes weeks 1 through 14. You accumulate the points, and then after that, it breaks off into, you basically have to qualify to advance to the next week, and that's where drafting guys that are hopefully going to be scoring a lot more points in weeks 15, 16, and 17 are going to come into play. A guy or a stack like Burrow and Chase, or Kelsey and Mahomes, there where they face off in week 17, could be a huge difference in winning or not advancing in a league like these tournament type leagues. As you can see, a tournament here has 1,080 players in it, or a tournament here has 25,000 players in it. Now, there's not 25,000 players in the NFL, so they break these leagues up into 12-team leagues. So you're basically in your own little 12-team league, battling with 11 other people for those first 14 weeks, but you're also battling against the rest of the pool, because you want to have the points to advance into the money weeks, but you also want to be able to survive your league too. And by having 25,000 people, you're looking at every single 12-team league. One person is going to own a Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Jalen Hurts, a Jamar Chase. So every single league is going to have every single one of those guys. So you got to make sure when you're building your lineups that you're throwing some differentiators in there too. Now we're not saying just draft a whole bunch of sleepers and rookies and just fill your lineup with Bryce Young and Roshan Johnsons. Jamie would do that. um, but I mean, those are good guys to have. But you want to have the guys that are going to get you some points, a lot of points too. And that's where building your lineup strategy comes in. And then if you look further down here and on your app, you go look on your app, you'll see that they have smaller leagues, 6-team leagues, 12-team leagues, even 3-team leagues. Throw $1 in there and you could almost triple up your money. Of course, DraftKings and Underdog, they're going to take their cut. But that's the thing about them is you're playing on a legit website, a legit app. It's fully trustworthy, and that's how they make their money by taking their rakes. So they're gonna get theirs. If you win, you get yours. It's basically automatically deposited right back into your account. But in a 11-team or a 12-team league here, like this one here, you can enter this one. This one goes weeks 1 through 17. There's only going to be one Mahomes in that league. There's only going to be one Josh Allen. There's only going to be one Jalen Hurts. So you build your team based on that, knowing that, yeah, you still want to have the highest scoring team, but you don't have to worry about too much difference makers there. I mean, you still want to get the highest scoring guys, but you don't have to worry about, hey, I need to grab this under the radar guy because maybe 50% of the other leagues won't have this guy, where 100% of the leagues are going to have Patrick Mahomes, but there's only one Mahomes in a 12-team league. There's only one Mahomes in even a 3-team league. You're going to have stacked rosters. Any tips that you want to give on either entering a tournament or entering one of these smaller leagues, Jamie?
Just with tournaments, you want to stack more, and then there's something called a correlation that you want to look into for later on in the seasons. When you're in the final weeks, you want to stack people that are facing each other, just like Cincinnati is going to be facing the Chiefs. So I
17,
I would like more of those on my team, just so if I do make it to week 17, I'm going to have more of a chance to win, where the people that don't have those players are even going to be in competition. But keep in mind that you do have to make it to week 17.
Yeah.
So don't focus so much on that correlation to where you're reaching out people.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Now, having a Mahomes Kelsey stack, or even correlating them where you're bringing one back, and if you play DFS, you've heard the term "bring one back," where you're stacking Mahomes, you're stacking Kelsey with Mahomes, and it's still called a stack if you have Mahomes and Jamar Chase where they're playing each other.
Yes.
Right. So even though Mahomes isn't throwing the ball directly to Jamar Chase, if Mahomes is doing good, he's getting you points. Cincinnati has to return the favor and do good. So you want guys that are going to be on Cincinnati to get you points back. So even if you don't get Travis Kelsey or you don't get Sky Moore, which we should be able to get later on, that's just an example. So even if you don't get one of those, you can get somebody from Cincinnati to bring it back. So definitely a way to go. Look at the week 16 or 15, 16, and 17 schedule. It's a little bit more important in the tournaments, as Jamie said. For the smaller leagues, your 3, 6, and 12-team leagues, it's not as important because you're just playing against the other 2, 5, 11 people in your league. And you just want to, in those leagues, you just want to have the most points, and you don't necessarily have to have the most points each week, although it does help if you're having the most points every single week, then you're obviously winning. But you just want to have, at the end of the year, you want to have the most points out of everybody. That's basically what it all comes down to. If you played in any points leagues before, where the only difference here is you're not setting your lineup. in a points league where you were setting your lineup. You have to choose which players you want to play, and then you got your other players on the bench. In here, you're drafting a 20-team league, so that's one of the differences between it's one of the differences between DraftKings and Underdog is on DraftKings you're drafting 20 players. It's one quarterback, two running backs, three wide receivers, one tight end, one flex, and 12 bench. On Underdog, it's 10 bench. So it's still the same setup, but it's only 10 bench. There's no kickers. There's no defensive special teams, no individual defensive players. It's just those skill positions and the quarterback, and not super flex. The scoring is basically the same on both, except for Underdog is going to be half point per reception, and DraftKings is full point per reception. And actually, it's not really the same because there are bonuses on Underdog. 300 yards passing, you get plus 3 points. 100-yard rushing, you get 3 points. 100-yard receiving, you get 3 points. And like I said, it is a full point per reception. It is 4 points for passing touchdown. Same thing on Underdog, and -1 for interception. So it kind of favors it does favor rushing quarterbacks because you do get rushing touchdowns for 6 points, but also with the passing bonus, it does favor guys that do pass the ball heavy. So a guy like Josh Allen is going to be one of the top guys because he's going to throw a lot of passing touchdowns. He's going to rush for a few touchdowns, and he's going to have a lot of 300-yard games. Unfortunately, he's probably going to throw a lot of interceptions too, so we'll not talk about that. But yeah, so I mean that's basically the scoring for DraftKings. If you go into a tournament, you can see how things are broken down. If you make it out of weeks 1 through 14, if you're one of the top 2 players in your specific league, then you're going to advance to the next round. So there's no money involved there. In round 2, if you're one of the top 2, then you advance to the following round. If you're 3rd through 12th, you get $18, and I believe this buy-in was $12. So you make $6 on that if you advance to round 2. If you advance to round 3, you advance to the following round if you're in first place. But if you finish 2nd through 6th, then you get $60. So nice little 5 extra money there. And then for round 4, you get a entry into and the specific one, you get an entry into a $1.5 million contest. So it's just an entry, and then there's different prizes for the other placers. So 2nd place you get $1,000. On to 9th place you get $140. So make sure when you are entering a tournament, let me refresh this so I can get rid of that box there. Make sure when you are entering a tournament, you know exactly what you're entering. Because if it says something like if it says that it's a qualifier, then the top prize is going to be that contest ticket. If it's just like more of just if it's not a qualifier, it just has like just a dollar amount, then that dollar amount is split up in between all the winners. They split that million into, you probably get 500,000 for first, and then it splits down the rest of the way for however many spots pay. So make sure you know what you're entering. Where these smaller, just the individual leagues, you pay $10. The total prize pool is $54 in a 6-person league. So there's no tickets that they're giving out. There's no entries into something else. It's $54. First gets 38, seconds get 16 out of the 6 players. So 1/3 of the pool gets paid. You make $6 if you come in 2nd place, and then places 3 through 6 don't get paid anything. So just make sure when you are on here, you look at how the prizes are broken down. In this one, only one person gets paid the full 135. So with that, let's talk a little bit about Underdog. Jamie, I will let you take this one. Let me just throw it up here on the screen here. A lot of the same things. Basically, it is just a different app, a little bit more user-friendly, I think. I have if you want me to click on something specific, let me know. I know that because I'm controlling all the screen sharing here, but let us know what your thoughts on Underdog are.
Well, most of the people I know use Underdog as opposed to the DraftKings. there's multiple options. You could do best ball mania tournaments. There's the puppy drafts. Um, Pretty much every tournament's named after a dog. Uh, then there's also like you can do $3 drafts. You can do $5 drafts, all the way up to like 10, 25. There's
25.
$50 drafts. There's $100 drafts. $500 drafts. So depending on how rich you are, you can enter into these tournaments, or just 12 people drafts. And they also have 3 people drafts, 6 people drafts, 12 person drafts is what I usually go to. And I'm not most time I don't do tournaments because I'm not that great at drafting tournaments. But if you do, I recommend a slow puppy. If you click on a slow puppy draft, you can enter up to 150 times in this one tournament. And first place gets, I think, $75,000. Second place, $40,000. So just putting $5 into a tournament, you have a chance to win $75,000 if you come in first. And it trickles down. You could win up to like $8, $10, $25, $35. Like it just keeps going up depending on what place you rank. But that's what I love about the puppy drafts, and it allows you to put in as many entries as you want, up to 150. 12-person drafts are the most popular, I think. You could create a private draft with you and your friends. So if you have 11 other friends that you want to draft with, just create a private 12-person draft. You can make it $3, $5, $10, $100. It doesn't matter. It's only 18 rounds. The draft order is randomized, just like in DraftKings. So pretty much it's just like you pick what you want to do, 3, 6, 12, and get into it. And I don't know. It's the same things you said in DraftKings, man.
Yeah, not a lot of
can't really like everything that you said that's on DraftKings is what Underdog, except it's more user friendly. You only draft 18 rounds, and it's half point PPR as opposed to the full point PPR.
And then the one, yeah, and you already mentioned it, but the one thing that's cool about Underdog is they create private draft, and so you can. So these are still set up the same way. Where if you enter one of those 12-person drafts on DraftKings, or you enter a 12-person draft on Underdog, it's you versus 11 other people, and the best scoring team is going to be the one that wins at the end of the year, or whatever the prize breakdown is. So $20 a first, $9 a second. Third gets your money back. You could do a private draft, and you'll get the link, and you can send it out to all your friends. I believe you can make the private draft public. So if you don't have 11 other friends, you can create it, send it out to 4 of your friends, and then it'll fill with other people, or post it in different social media groups, and try to get to fill organically. But it is so that's the coolest thing here is like, you don't have to enter in. Now, obviously, the money isn't the same, but you don't have to enter into the slow puppy to try to get some money back. You can enter a 12-person draft either against 11 people that you don't know, or create your own. It's still the same payouts. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Underdog and DraftKings, FanDuel, Drafters, you deposit money into your account. You create your account, deposit money. They hold on to all that money. They take their rake. It even tells you that they take a rake, but that's how these websites make their money. But it's 100% legit. Like, you're not, if you were to create a best ball draft on Sleeper or Yahoo or one of those fantasy platforms, you have to find some trustworthy people to either A, if you're the commissioner, pay you, or B, if you're not the commissioner, make sure they pay you when you win. Where these, you're going to get paid out pretty much right after it ends. So it's definitely, these are definitely the way to go. DraftKings and Underdog. FanDuel is basically going to be the same as DraftKings. So if you use FanDuel, if you prefer FanDuel to DraftKings, basically you're going to find it the same way. They have the drafts in there. They have the big tournaments, and they have the smaller leagues. I don't know if they go into 3, 6, 12, or 3, 6, 10, 12, whatever it may be. But I hear you see you got 3-person leagues, 12-person leagues, you got a 4-person league, 10-person leagues. So, and you can create like, you just want to make sure that you are under the right one before you create it. So if you want to create a 3-person league, that's $5. Make sure you click on the one that's $5 for 3-person, because it's going to set up your league with these settings. If you want to create a 3-person league for $3, don't click the $5 one, because it's going to make it $5. You want to click the $3 one. And it's cool. Like, if you're on social media and you see somebody taunting their 8-person team or eight team league and it's totally stacked, yeah, I mean, in a redraft, it's not that cool. But imagine going into a 3-person draft and drafting just drafting a dominant team of studs and having 2 other dominant teams of studs, and all 3 is battling it out for 17 weeks, and you don't have to worry about setting your lineup and picking which dominant studs you want to start each week.
Exactly. And as we were just talking, I pulled up a league, 12-person slow draft, $3. They had when you start talking, it said 7 people were in it out of 12. Right now there's 9, so I'm going to click enter. Now I only need 2 more people to join this draft. So I'm going to go to sleep tonight. When I wake up in the morning, I'll either be on the clock or I'll be a few picks away from my pick. And then that draft will last, what, a week and a half, 2 weeks sometimes?
Yep. Yeah, so you can also, yeah, that's another good point. Like, you can make sure that you're clicking, like, you'll see they got different logos here.
There's a slow draft, fast drafts, where they have up to a 30-second clock. So if you want to just draft right away, if you're sitting there for 10 minutes, the draft will last 10, 15 minutes, not even. Or you can make it last 2 weeks with a slow draft.
The lightning bolt, they call that a flash draft. So those picks are like, you got to make sure you pick instantly. The ones that don't have a logo are 30-second clocks. And then the ones that have the orange clock that's an 8-hour clock. And then overnight, it's still running overnight, but they bump it up to, what was it, 12 hours or 10 hours?
I believe they do at least 10 to 12, but it's enough time to sleep, wake up, make your pick if you have to.
Yeah, unless you're a polar bear over the summertime. And then there's other like things that you could look at with if you're in your own profile. You can, I don't know how to find it on the browser. I'd have to look at it on my phone, so I'm not gonna waste any time doing that. But like, you can see your player share. So if you're in 10 leagues and you draft Jalen Hurts in 7 of them, it's going to tell you that you have a 70% share of Jalen Hurts, so that's your most owned player. And you can kind of see, like, and if you want to build teams based on how that goes, and like, you have T. Higgins in 90% of them, maybe you want to take Tyler Boyd in the next couple that you pick up, so you're not having all T. Higgins or all Jamar Chases. If you have Jamar Chase in 8 of them, then the next like 5 you do, maybe you're picking up T. Higgins instead. So you can definitely see what your share is across all your leagues, and that's pretty cool too. Like I said, I don't know how to get to it exactly on the browser. I could get to it on my phone, but I'm not going to bore you guys with that. That's all stuff that you could look into when you do it. So, and with Underdog, like I said at the beginning of the show, use promo code GF2 and you get a deposit match up to $100. So throw 100 in, you got $200, you got all that money to play with. And then if you win any, you get paid at the end of the season, right back into your account. Hook it up through your bank account or your debit card, and you could cash it out at the end or keep it in there for the following season. They also do different sports. I don't know if they have best ball for other sports, but they have different things that you can do on Underdog as far as like pick'ems. You can pick if Mike Trout's going to get a hit tonight. You can pick if Connor McDavid's going to get a shot on goal when the hockey season's on. So you can use that money into different stuff in Underdog. But that's for a different show. Today we're just talking about best ball.
Yeah, and what's nice about Underdog also is say if you draft before the NFL draft, they have an exposure of how many players you have, like the percentage-wise. It says pre-draft, and then it also has a May too early exposure. And then after that, it's just got your regular season draft exposure.
Yeah, and if you listen to other podcasts and websites and read some stuff about like best ball and even ADP, when they're referencing ADP over the summertime, for the most part, they're referencing ADP from best ball drafts. So if you're seeing that back in April and you saw Alexander Madison was going in the 10th round because Dalvin Cook was technically still on the team, and then his ADP starts slowly dropping to the 4th, 5th round, they're referencing underdogs ADP when they're talking about that, because all summer long, just right after the Super Bowl is when people are starting to draft best ball for the following year. So you're drafting teams that after the Super Bowl, you're drafting teams that don't even have rookies on them. You're drafting teams that maybe you drafted Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, and Dalvin Cook, and you got all three of those on the same team, thinking, "Wow, I got a pretty stacked team," and now none of them have a team right now. Or you're drafting guys like who's a good one, Melvin Gordon. You drafted Melvin Gordon in the 18th round 3 months ago because I think he's going to sign somewhere. And just the other day, he signed somewhere. So now you got to steal in the 18th round if he makes a team and has any kind of relevancy during the regular season. So so there's really no bad time to draft at all. Obviously, you're going to have some players that either get cut and don't make the team, or that just get buried because they bring in all these other guys over the summer, and unfortunately that's going to happen. But it's just fun. Then you just enter another draft and work around it and go an opposite way. Then if you drafted if you drafted James Robinson when he was a Patriot, now you got him, and maybe he didn't have a lot of value then. Now he has a little bit more value, so you got a deal on him. Anything else you want to add to, not specifically underdog, but anything else you want to add to that?
No, I mean, it's never too early to draft. Like I said, I start drafting February 28th, and then I never stop. I'm always in at least 2-3 drafts at a time, even if it's $3. Sometimes I draft $5. When I'm with my friends, we'll do like $10, $25 drafts. So just keep drafting, man, because the more you draft, the more you know.
Yeah, and that's another good point there. Obviously, underdog has they both have the set dollar amounts that you could put in there, but you could draft for as low as $1. Let me I could try to bring the DraftKings one back up, but you could draft for as low as $1 in a 12-team league and make, what was it, $10 or something like that,
Yep.
without wasting too much time. Or here's a 6-team league, you can make $5.40 in a 6-team league, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 500% your money if you win. So definitely a way to go. Check out those websites, DraftKings and Underdog. They got apps too, so check out the apps. Download them. Use code GF2 on Underdog. Get $100 price match deposit, and I believe that is it. Keep a lookout for our how to use Sleeper, how to run IDP. We're going to have how to run a guillotine league, how to run a zombie league, how to run a vampire league, how to do your own rankings. We have different templates for that. So we're going to have these how-to videos just coming out. Just keep a lookout for them, and we appreciate you guys tuning in.